At dinner, Emma twirled her pasta like she was auditioning for an Olive Garden commercial and casually dropped, "I think we should get a divorce." Months of suspicious behavior, sneaky little calls, late yoga sessions, that never produced a single ounce of flexibility. Yeah, I'd seen it coming. So I smiled. Not the normal happy husband's smile. No, this was the kind of smile you give when you already know the magician's trick and you're just waiting for them to embarrass themselves on stage. "Sure," I said, reaching into my briefcase. "Funny you mention that. I actually brought some paperwork too." I slid the documents across the table like a blackjack dealer. Emma froze, her fork dangling midair with a limp noodle hanging off it like it had lost the will to live. She stared. Silence. Not the romantic silence couples dream of, but the kind of silence you get when the Wi-Fi dies during your favorite show. Finally she blinked. What is this?" Her voice was so thin I thought the pasta had choked her on the way down. "Oh, those?" I leaned back, swirling my wine like I was hosting MasterChef. "Not divorce papers. Asset transfers. You know, all that money, the house, the cars, the savings, the stuff you were banking on in your big Emma takes everything heist? Yeah, it's gone. Legally. Irrevocably. Into a lovely little trust under my mother's name." Her face went sheet white. "I swear if you'd held her up to the window, you could have used her as a projector screen." I kept going because why not? 2 weeks before your little plan to file. Perfect timing if I do say so myself. Also completely legal. I know, shocker. Emma's lips parted like she wanted to argue, but all that came out was a squeak, like a dog toy stepped on by accident. "Oh, don't look so surprised," I said, tilting my head. "You really thought you could run this little Wall Street scheme on me? Me? The guy who spent 15 years restructuring multimillion-dollar companies, spotting fraud before people even dream up the idea? Emma, sweetheart, I literally wrote the playbook on financial betrayal." She slammed her fork down. "You think you're so smart, don't you?" "No, Emma," I shot back with the fakest sincerity I could muster. "I know I'm smart. You just thought you were." Her jaw clenched. I watched the realization dawn on her face like a bad sunrise. I shrugged. Strategic asset protection. Ring a bell? Annual revenues north of 2 million? Clients in the Fortune 500? You thought I was some clueless husband who'd leave his accounts lying around like pocket change? She went red. "You can't." "Oh, I can," I cut her off, savoring my pasta. And I did. The house. Worth $850,000. Completely paid off. I set down my glass and gave her a grin sharp enough to cut glass. "And Emma." I sat back in my chair, swirling the wine in my glass like some smug villain in a Bond movie, while Emma sat there flipping through the documents like she was searching for a hidden "just kidding" page. Spoiler alert, there wasn't one. Her face shifted through emotions like a bad actor auditioning for soap operas. Shock, confusion, rage, despair, all in under 30 seconds. I should have given her a scorecard. Finally, she slammed the papers down and glared at me. "You can't do this. This is our money. Our house. You can't just steal everything we built together." I almost choked on my wine. "Steal?" "Emma, sweetheart," I said, tilting my head like I was explaining fractions to a particularly dense child, "what I did is called asset protection. What you were about to do. That's stealing. Don't get the two confused. Words matter." She opened her mouth to argue, but I held up a finger, the universal sign for, "Shut up, I'm not done making fun of you yet." See, the thing is, I've been in the business of saving people from financial ambushes for 15 years. That's right, 15 years of watching sneaky little schemes like yours get crushed under airtight documentation and ironclad trusts. You've been binging divorce forums like they're Netflix. Forgive me if I feel slightly more qualified here. Her nostrils flared. She looked like she might throw her pasta at me, but given that it was still dangling from her fork like a limp noodle of shame, I doubted she had the energy. I set my wine down and reached into my pocket, pulling out my phone. "By the way, Emma, meet my new best friend." I turned the screen so she could see the little red dot glowing on a recording app. Her eyes went wide. "Yes," I continued cheerfully, "this lovely app has been capturing every word of this delightful dinner conversation. Just like it's been capturing every shady phone call, every slip-up, every little breadcrumb you thought you were oh so cleverly hiding these past 3 months." Her lips parted, but no sound came out. And speaking of breadcrumbs, I leaned in, lowering my voice like I was about to reveal the twist ending in a mystery novel. "How's Jake doing?" Boom. There it was. The name drop that turned her face from beet red rage to ghost white terror. She froze, fork still hovering midair like time itself had stopped. If I'd had a camera, I'd have framed it and hung it above the fireplace as the exact second she realized she'd been outplayed. You don't?" she stammered. "Oh, I do," I cut her off, smiling like the cat who not only ate the canary but also sold the cage on Craigslist. "Jake, your new little boyfriend has been coaching you, hasn't he? Coaching you through what you both thought would be a lucrative divorce." And just like that, checkmate. You know, Emma always used to tease me about working too much. "David, you can never turn your brain off," she'd say. She wasn't wrong. What she didn't realize was that same overclocked brain was now the only thing standing between her and the $1 million retirement plan she was plotting with her side piece. My first stop had been Patricia Brennan. Now, Patricia is not the kind of woman you call unless you're serious about winning. She's a high-asset divorce attorney who has seen every variation of "my spouse is a greedy sociopath" and lived to bill for it. When I called her 6 weeks ago with my suspicions, she didn't even flinch. "David," she said, sipping her coffee like she was about to drop the 10 Commandments, "the key is legitimacy. You're not hiding assets, you're restructuring them for estate planning purposes. Timing and documentation, those are your holy scriptures." 3 hours later, my head was spinning but my strategy was bulletproof. Patricia connected me with an estate planning attorney who worked with Fortune 500 execs. People so rich they probably didn't even know what pasta cost. With their help, I made sure every single move was legal, defensible, and most importantly, untouchable. Next up was Marcus Hoffman, my forensic accountant buddy. If Patricia was the general, Marcus was the sniper. He combed through our financial records like a man possessed, flagging every suspicious withdrawal, every subtle account tweak Emma had made. After 2 weeks, he gave me the full picture. "She's following a very predictable pattern," Marcus told me over lunch, tapping the spreadsheet like it was a treasure map. "Someone's coaching her. Probably teaching her how to maximize her payout. But they're assuming you're some passive husband who won't see it coming." I laughed so hard I almost spilled my coffee. Passive? I'd built a consulting empire by spotting threats before anyone else noticed. Passive was not in my vocabulary. Marcus's final conclusion? Emma was expecting to waltz away with at least a cool $1 million. Enough to start a shiny new life with Jake. My Jake. Correction, her Jake. I mentally downgraded him from homewrecker to co-conspirator with poor taste in real estate. Then came David Foster, the private investigator. Great guy. No nonsense. He spent 2 weeks shadowing Emma and Jake, and when he came back he didn't sugarcoat a damn thing. "Your wife isn't just cheating, David," he said, dropping a folder thick enough to be used as a doorstop. "She's running a financial intelligence op against you." Jake's experienced. Looks like he's done this before with other wealthy marks. This isn't passion, it's a business plan. Lovely. Nothing says romance like syndicated asset heist with a side of adultery. That intel reframed everything for me. Emma wasn't just unfaithful, she was basically auditioning for Ocean's 11, Suburban Edition. Suddenly, my heartbreak turned into a very different kind of battle. One I knew how to win. With Hamilton and Associates, I built an irrevocable trust that was as airtight as Fort Knox. My mother, God bless her, was appalled when I told her what Emma was plotting. "Of course I'll be trustee," she said. "What kind of woman does this?" "Apparently mine," I replied dryly. The structure was genius. Assets transferred for legitimate reasons. The house for estate tax planning, investments for long-term care protection, business assets restructured against liability. If Emma's lawyer tried to poke holes, they'd find nothing but IRS-approved logic and airtight contracts. And the timing? Impeccable. I had to act during weeks when Emma was acting normal, smiling, affectionate, playing the role of doting wife, so she couldn't later claim I'd done it in response to marital problems. Every night I came home, kissed her hello, asked about her day, all while knowing she was actively plotting to gut me like a fish. She thought she was the puppet master. In reality, she was dancing on strings I'd been tightening for weeks. Now, sitting across from her at dinner, watching her face drain of color as she realized the scale of what I'd done, I felt two things at once: satisfaction and sadness. Satisfaction because I'd outplayed her at her own game. Sadness because the woman I'd loved had turned into a second-rate villain from a financial crime drama. But sentiment only lasts so long. The strategic part of my brain was already shifting gears, anticipating her next moves and preparing counter-strategies. Relationships awkward and strained. Several clients specifically requested different account managers, and Emma's dreams of a promotion evaporated faster than my leftover lunch in the office fridge. Honestly, I almost felt bad. Almost. 6 months later, the legal circus finally ended. Emma walked away with her personal belongings and a small settlement, basically the exact amount she'd contributed to our joint accounts. It was like winning a consolation prize at a raffle you didn't even enter. Really, David? That's it? She asked in that infuriatingly dramatic voice of hers. Yes, Emma, I said, carefully keeping my tone civil while secretly picturing her face when she realized she was leaving empty-handed. All your worldly possessions, including the decorative cactus you bought in 2017. She glared. And, no spousal support? Not a dime, I confirmed. Turns out evidence of infidelity and financial deception is a real conversation killer in court. While my airtight asset protection strategy remained completely unassailable, she left with roughly $15,000 and a reputation that could make a tabloid editor blush. As for me? Well, I leveled up in both patience and smugness. Funny enough, my consulting firm actually gained 3 new clients because word had gotten around about how efficiently I handled my own marital chaos. Nothing screams credibility like being married to a con artist and living to tell the tale. I remember one of my new clients, Mark, saying over Zoom, "David, we need your expertise. We heard you survived a full-scale domestic financial attack and didn't even spill your coffee." I smiled. Mark, surviving is one thing. Thriving? That's an art form. The strategies I developed during this little personal apocalypse? Pure gold. They became new offerings for other clients facing similar threats. I even started calling one package the Emma Special, though mostly in my head. Meanwhile, my mother, bless her heart, had a field day with the extra assets. She's already made several strategic improvements to the investment portfolio, and I swear she somehow managed to make Emma's loss feel like a minor shareholder meeting for her own amusement. Emma moved to another state within a year, probably because she couldn't handle being the human embodiment of a cautionary tale in our community. Her family maintains minimal contact, still secretly whispering about her like she's a reality TV villain. Jake, according to my final report, I call it the Jake Chronicles, moved on to target another wealthy married woman in a different city. Surprise, surprise, Emma was just another notch in his ongoing pattern of financial manipulation. Honestly, at this point he should just start a loyalty program. The entire ordeal taught me something important. Sometimes the best defense really is a good offense, especially when your opponent assumes you're an easy mark. Emma's fatal error was thinking I was just another trusting husband who could be bamboozled. Instead, she chose to tangle with someone whose career was literally built around detecting and preventing exactly the type of scheme she attempted. Her betrayal? Devastating on a personal level. Professionally? Just another case to be solved with the same methodical approach I had used hundreds of times before. Love this story? Like, share, and subscribe for more epic audio adventures. Stay curious and keep listening.